The wind howled over the cracked plains of New Mexico territory, dragging dust and despair in its wake. The sky was bruised purple, heavy with a storm that would never come, and the earth below it was dying, starving like the people who still dared to live upon it. On a lone trail slicing through this wasteland, a man rode slow and steady. His name was Caleb Rourke, a drifter known across counties as the Lost Horseman, a man who'd seen too much war, too many graves, and carried a silence thicker than whiskey and twice as bitter. He came upon a wagon toppled beside a dry creek bed. The horses were gone, the canvas ripped, and the faint wisp of smoke curled from the ashes of what used to be a campfire. Caleb slowed his horse, Colt 45 at his side, eyes scanning. Then he heard it, a weak voice, soft but trembling with pain. "Help, please." He slid off his horse and followed the sound. Behind the wrecked wagon, half buried in the sand, lay a woman. Her dress was torn, blood staining the side of her bodice. Her face was pale, dirt smudged across her cheeks, and one arm hung limp at her side. She looked up at him with eyes so full of pain that it silenced the world. "Ma'am," Caleb said quietly, kneeling beside her. "You're hurt bad." "What happened?" Her lips trembled as she tried to speak. "Bandits. 3 days ago. Took everything. My husband's dead. They left me and the children, please. They haven't eaten in 3 days." Caleb's chest tightened. "Where are they?" She pointed shakily toward a cluster of rocks half a mile away. Hid them there. I told them not to move. Please, save them. Leave me behind if you must." Caleb looked at the wound in her side. A gunshot, ragged and festering. She'd been bleeding slow and steady for days. "You're not dying here," he muttered. "Not while I'm breathing." But she grabbed his wrist, her grip surprisingly strong. No, you don't understand. I'm done for. Just save them, please, save my babies." Caleb stared at her and met the determination burning in her fading eyes. He'd seen that look before, years ago on a battlefield when men chose death if it meant someone else might live. He swallowed hard, nodded once, and rode for the rocks. Behind the boulders he found 2 children, a boy of 8 and a girl of maybe 5. They were thin, eyes hollow, lips cracked from thirst. The boy held a stick like a gun, guarding his sister. "Stay back," the boy cried, voice hoarse. "You ain't taking us." Caleb lifted his hands. "Easy there, partner. Your ma sent me. Name's Caleb Rourke. I'm here to get you out of here." The boy hesitated, then lowered his makeshift weapon. "Ma's hurt real bad." "I know," Caleb said softly. "Let's get you both to her." He carried the little girl, her tiny hands clinging to his coat, and led the boy back. But when they reached the wagon, the woman was gasping, her breath shallow. "They're safe," she whispered, seeing her children. A weak smile curved her lips. "Thank God." Caleb knelt beside her. "You're gonna make it. I'll patch you up, get you to town." But she shook her head, tears cutting lines through the dust on her cheeks. "No, I can't go. Just promise me. Take them to my sister in Mesa Ridge. Her name's Clara May. Tell her I kept my word." Caleb clenched his jaw. "Ma'am, I don't leave folks behind." She looked straight into his eyes, voice trembling but strong. "You've already lost someone too, haven't you?" He froze. The ghost stirred behind his stare. He saw again the fire, the smoke. His wife Sarah's face fading in his arms during that raid years ago. He had never told anyone that story, but this woman saw through him. "Then you understand," she whispered. "Sometimes love means letting go." The boy started crying softly. "Mama, don't go." She reached out a weak hand, touching his face. "Be strong, Eli. Protect your sister. Be brave for me." Her hand dropped, and the wind picked up again, carrying the sound of her last breath into the endless desert. Caleb bowed his head. He'd buried too many people, but this one hurt deeper than most. He buried her under the lone mesquite tree near the wagon, marking the grave with a stone. The children stood silently, the boy holding his sister's hand tight. When it was done, Caleb mounted his horse and lifted the girl into his arms. The boy climbed behind him, wrapping his small arms around Caleb's waist. As they rode off, the horizon burned orange and the dying sun cast long shadows across the graves of the forgotten. Caleb spoke softly into the wind. "I'll get you there, ma'am. I swear it." But he didn't know that the men who had left her to die were already tracking their trail, and one of them was a face from Caleb's own haunted past. By the time Caleb reached the edge of the canyons, night had fallen thick and cold. The children were shivering, hungry, and exhausted. He built a small fire beneath a cliff ledge, feeding them the last of his jerky and some stale biscuits. The boy barely ate. His eyes stayed fixed on the flames, hard and hollow. "You don't talk much," Caleb said, handing him a canteen. The boy's jaw tightened. Ma said talk and wastes breath. Said livin' takes more than words. Caleb gave a faint smile. Smart woman. The girl fell asleep curled against his coat, her tiny body trembling in her dreams. Caleb stared into the fire, thoughts heavy with guilt. He had been riding away from everything for years, hiding from his own failures. Now fate had dropped these two souls in his path. And maybe, just maybe, this was his chance to do something right again. At dawn, they saddled up and rode toward Mesa Ridge, a town 3 days north. The land between was pure hell, rattlesnakes, drought, and bandits who ruled the trails. And by midday, Caleb heard the sound he feared most, hoofbeats behind them. He urged the horse faster, but the pounding grew louder. Then came the gunshot. The horse screamed, stumbling as dust exploded around them. Caleb yanked the reins, steering them toward a rocky pass. Another shot whistled past his ear. He turned in the saddle and saw 3 riders, their faces covered with scarves, guns drawn. The same men who had attacked the widow. He cursed under his breath. "Hold on!" The boy clung to him, the girl crying. Caleb veered into the canyon, bullets ricocheting off stone. He rode hard until the path narrowed to a dead end, a sheer wall of red rock, trapped. The bandits closed in, laughing as they dismounted. Their leader, a broad man with a scar across his face, pulled down his bandana. Caleb froze. He knew that face. Rourke, the man sneered. "Didn't expect to see you again." "Not after Pecos." Caleb's blood went cold. "Briggs," he said softly. "Should have known you were behind this." Briggs grinned, showing yellowed teeth. "Small world, huh? Last time I saw you, you were wearing a Union badge. Heard you lost your nerve after that raid. Wife caught in the crossfire, wasn't she?" Caleb's hand twitched near his gun. "Watch your mouth," Briggs laughed cruelly. "Now look at you, babysitting some brat kids and a dead woman's promise. You always were a fool for lost causes." Caleb's voice went low and sharp. "You killed that woman." "You left her to die," Briggs shrugged. "She had nothing worth taking, just like you." The desert went still. Caleb's eyes narrowed, hand hovering at his side. For a long second, time froze, then came the draw. The air cracked with thunder. Caleb's Colt roared 3 times. Fast, deadly, precise. The first bullet caught the nearest bandit square in the chest. The second clipped Briggs's shoulder, and the third tore through the last man's leg. Briggs staggered back, cursing, firing wildly. The bullet grazed Caleb's arm, but he didn't flinch. He advanced slow and deliberate, eyes burning. Briggs dropped his gun, stumbling backward. "You can't kill me, Rourke. You ain't that man no more." Caleb leveled his revolver. "You're wrong." The final shot echoed through the canyon. When the dust settled, Briggs lay dead. The children clung to each other, trembling, but Caleb holstered his gun and walked to them. "It's over," he said quietly. "Ain't no one gonna hurt you now." He tore a strip from his coat to bind his arm, then lifted the little girl and set her back on the horse. The boy stared up at him with wide eyes. "You killed them," he whispered. Caleb nodded. "Yeah, and I'd do it again if it meant keeping you safe." They rode for hours through silence, the wind carrying the ghosts of what was left behind. When at last they reached Mesa Ridge, the sun was setting over the horizon, bathing the town in gold. Caleb found Clara May, the widow's sister, and handed the children to her care. She kept her promise, he told her. She made sure they lived. Clara's eyes filled with tears. "And you? What'll you do now, Mr. Rourke?" He looked toward the open plains. "Guess I'll keep riding. Lot of lost souls out there. Maybe I can still do some good." He tipped his hat, mounted his horse, and rode off toward the burning sky. A lone figure against the dying light, the sound of hooves fading into eternity. The widow's words echoed in his mind, soft but unbroken. Sometimes love means letting go. And in that silence, Caleb Rourke finally began to heal.